This is the Hook Better Leads podcast.
Today we're talking about minimizing lead slippage and the waste of phone tag and follow-up with Torlando Hakes of Periodic. How you doing, Torlando?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Tim?
Doing very well. And you're very involved with a national association as well. What is that association again?
Yeah, it's the Painting Contractors Association, the PCA. So, in addition to my work as a director of business development Periodic, I serve as a PCA brand ambassador to other contractors to get them involved in the association. I host a podcast called Paint Ed over there that's ran by the association, and we regularly have on contractor guests and experts, and we bring them in to just talk about the current state of the industry, and to learn more about business and about the specific practice of paint contracting, which it's a really good group. Painters are a really fun group of people to be around, and there are some folks out there that run really solid companies, and they just have a huge wealth of knowledge to share.
Yeah. And I think, part of our value proposition, I think on Hook Better Leads, we're talking about processes that help increase profitability. And sometimes that sharing between sub-industries. We talk to contractors, but then there's the painting contractors. We had an HVAC guy on yesterday. We had plumbing, the day before that. So there's like this, we're sharing the things that you're learning from other industries. And there's some really good stuff that people are kind of like, there's either technology tools and things like that. But when it comes to lead slippage, the problem, as you've expressed to me, is that 43% of people in home services call after business hours. And the follow-up, especially when you're just like, let's say in that 0 to 1 million range, is like, follow-up is tiring. You don't always have other business development specialists. So it's about, how do we make it easier? And so you ran a painting business. And you experienced some of this. How have you decreased the waste of leads? Because basically, if they don't get some follow-up kind of quick, sometimes they're gone. They're talking to somebody else. Yeah. And that's tiring as shit for a small business owner and somebody who's trying to increase their business. They're trying to increase their business, but they don't want to be on at 9 p.m. answering that phone call. How did you grow as a painting contractor to be able to do less of that tired phone answering?
Yeah, exactly. I like to steal this phrase from my friend Art Snarzik, who that's another guy that you got to have on, but he always refers to himself as a recovering contractor, because the contracting business can really chew you up and wear you down, and I get it. I was a contractor for 12 years. Specifically in paint contracting, had one of the largest painting companies in my town, and we got a lot of calls. And like you said, that statistic of 43% of people answering or calling in after business hours. Well, what does that mean for the business? It means either they are answering the phone at night when they should be with their family, spending dedicated time with their kids and their spouse, or they're letting it go to voicemail. And one thing that I don't know if I mentioned to you, 71% of people don't leave voicemails. They don't leave voice messages. So not only are almost half of your leads,
which if you're doing sales follow-up, you should leave a voicemail every time, by the way. So if you're calling back, make sure to leave a voicemail. That's a real good tip real quick. Cause basically it's also kind of like a text message nowadays. I've heard somebody say, if you're leaving a voicemail on a prospect's, voicemail, you should talk very clearly and slowly, knowing that it's going to be transcribed and they might just look at that and not actually call, not actually listen.
Oh yeah, that's me for sure. And it's kind of a riot when those transcriptions come in. But so think about this though. So almost half of 43% of your calls are coming when you're not even in business, and 71% of those people that are getting voicemail are not leaving a message. And so that leaves a very small percentage of your hard-earned marketing dollar being spent on people who you're not contacting, right? Or they're not reaching you. And I remember, days, especially, it always hurt in the slow season when you want to keep your guys busy, you want to keep the work flowing, and every call counts, every single one counts. I remember getting this voicemail of this lady. It was right after, it was right around this time of year. It was either before or after Christmas, and I get a voicemail, and I immediately followed up the morning after it came in. And every time I called, I either got her voicemail, or I caught her at a really bad time where she was at the grocery store, or taking her kids to daycare or something. There was just always something. I followed up with this lady 11 times before I was able to book the appointment.
Yeah.
11 times. And at that point in the year, and I mean, I was desperate. I needed that job. And I eventually got in there and sold the job. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, it was a good sized job, and it probably saved my company. And I just feel, and I pain for so many people who are feeling that same pressure to just connect with their customer, because this next lead, this next job is going to be it's going to have a big impact on how they do in the next coming months. And I just couldn't. I hated it. I hated that process of phone tag and follow up. It was such a drain. That and that lady, that was a lady who left a message. I remember it so clearly. There were 11 other voicemails, or 11 other missed calls on that list. And most of them didn't leave a message.
Yeah.
Right. But she was the one that did. So to answer your question, I first started doing a lot of research. The thing is, I didn't want the phone to ever not be answered. And so I started using a call service. I had some challenges with the call service at first, and I had to try a couple different ones before I got it right. But the piece that was missing was the ability.
Wait, will you share which one got it right?
I settled on Answer Connect. I thought that they had a decent model. Yeah,
it's not bad to share some other tools here too, in case somebody's trying stuff. At least they can try the best one that felt.
Exactly. Yeah. I had decent luck with them. I thought that they followed the script pretty well, and that the receptionist that they had generally did a decent job.
Cool.
But the thing that I really needed is I needed them to be able to use my booking software, because I had done some searching, and I found a solution that would allow my customers to book an appointment for an estimate on my website, or if they called in. And that was the thing that really turned the corner. That was the thing that turned my voicemail situation of like 10 calls, that I have to return. That turned my lead slippage from, I think most people are expecting, maybe like a 30% lead slippage from call to estimate.
Yeah.
It took it down to 0. Every single appointment got booked through the system. Every single lead got routed to the right salesperson on my team.
Yeah.
And our sales effectively doubled because of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And as far as, so we talk about the answering service, we talk about a booking software. Is there any other like kind of categories of types of things you think will help people not waste as much time on phone tag and follow up?
I mean, those two things, being well integrated into your website, I think are kind of the major linchpins.
Okay, I'm going to throw something else out here, just in general, right? We're talking about lead slippage, and what I want to hammer home to people briefly is how important this is to fix in general. Like we've talked about how to fix it, but like, why is this important? One, it's important. It doesn't matter that you're busy. Some contractors get busy and then they think that they're good. They think that they're good, but this is your reputation too. And even if you're not the right fit for these jobs, because sometimes it's just like, contractors get in the spot where they've got 5 jobs going on and this is just busyness. And they think those customers are nothing. That's a bad vibe to be. That's a bad place to be.
Yeah.
You are not a customer service oriented organization if you don't actually talk to or fix these issues. Somebody on your team should be talking to every prospect. Otherwise, you are treating them with disrespect, and I believe you're seeding the pot of the general public with bad vibes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be in that position. Now, if you're referring them to another painter or another contractor in general, that's great. You should be the person to connect them. That's your job. I think every company out there is a customer service company, and every single company everyone should be the Progressive Insurance. We should all be connecting, because we've done this for other people. We said, nope, we're not at the right fit. We'll connect you to somebody else. And it was
Sure.
for a vibe reason. It was like, I thought the guy was an asshole.
Yeah.
And I can't say that, maybe I shouldn't be saying that. I don't know, but I thought he was an asshole. Connect him with somebody else. Guess what? 2 months later, boom, we got business from that same person. That person referred us somebody else because they said, these guys get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
And your business might be thriving now, and there are different times and different periods. There's upswings and downswings in market. We're actually on an upswing, for home services.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And even people,
And incredible. It's, with I think I remember being a part of some early, COVID response panels when, everything was, getting shut down and everybody was super worried. And to be fair, there are some companies out there that have been struggling through the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
have been really in a tight spot. But I don't think what really ended up happening was expected at all.
No, we didn't know how this was going to affect people.
No, there's so many people that are at home staring at their home. They have more people in their house. They got to retool and readjust their home,
Mm-hmm.
get more space, turn their dining room into a spare office. And so we're really fortunate in the home services to kind of been on a counter cycle here.
Which is awesome. And it's just, none of us know what's going to happen next year and the year after that. And I feel like, to be honest, I've kind of been saying this for like 5 years, like with the whole home service, you don't know, next year might be bad. I've been marketing.
Like being on a spring that just gets cranked and one day it's just going to go.
It's gonna, though. There's cycles, right? It's gonna, and you really don't want to be that company that created a bad reputation by not being. It really does affect the reputation. And I think of reputation as a really good word. And it's not just responding to reviews and, reputation management and all that.
Yeah.
It's stuff around booking, making it easy to book. It's stuff around making sure that your phones are being answered appropriately and kindly every time. And you're referring out business when it's not appropriate for you. That, to me, is reputation.
Yeah.
And companies.
I can't, count the number of times people told me, "Oh, you're the only one that answered the phone." And
it's crazy.
I'm sure that your audience are the kind of people that are hearing that same thing. You were the only one that answered the phone. Well, the challenge is that when you have that good reputation, it spreads and your phone gets it starts going off the hook, and then you just become the person that's not answering their phone anymore because you're overwhelmed by it all.
Mm-hmm.
So making that process, just less sticky in general, that really became my goal. And I also didn't really want to hire an administrative assistant, somebody to answer the phones, a receptionist. I really wanted to keep my company slim. And so the addition of the technology and the answering service, it really helped that. I mean, there were so many times where somebody would say, "Oh, such and so was so nice on the phone," and I was like, I never, "Oh, Sarah's nice." I don't know Sarah, but I chose the right company, to answer the phone so that we sounded really professional, at all times, and it just made that process so just so smooth. I remember another occasion where we were painting a house outside. It was a crazy restoration project that we were doing. And I was highlighting it. I did a Facebook live video, and we, just kind of like an HGTV style, tour of what we were working on and all of this. And I boosted the post, or maybe I usually don't boost posts. I usually use the Facebook business tool for it. But
Mhm.
I ran some ads behind it, and I get this appointment booked, and I show up, and the gal's like, uh, crazy story. I was looking on my computer, just doing work, and I saw this ad. I saw your video of of the house and doing the tour, and then I looked outside of my window, and there you guys were.
Hmm.
Because they were next door, and
Hmm.
she saw the video, and
That's
she was
funny.
like, so I went online, and I went to your website, which is beautiful, and I mean, you just have to have it, especially when your trade is visual. When if you've got some good eye candy with your finished
And
results.
so many of these people do, right? And
So many of them do.
they're not broadcasting enough.
No, the cabinet people, the carpenters, the custom builders, the painters, they have such great eye candy,
Mhm.
and homeowners just eat this stuff up.
Oh,
Like, I mean, it's
yeah.
just they just consume it,
We
right?
all want it, to be honest. It's therapy, just like
It is.
HGTV. My parents have it on constantly, and they're just watching these remodels. People don't realize. I mean, you get a little accustomed to it when you're in the trades,
Yeah,
and you like, let's say you're the flooring guy, and you always see those beautiful floors.
yeah,
We don't. So remember just the novelty from an outside perspective of seeing a beautifully done floor, or beautifully done paint job, or a beautifully done whatever. Like, remember the novelty of that for other people. Give it to them. It's the satisfying aspect of completion when you're done with a job. When
yeah.
you're seeing that, it's more, you think that it's actually more satisfying to other people from the outside, if they're not in your business. So just
Yeah.
gotta remember that
But
and
even
turn on the
even
camera.
seeing the work in progress, because it
Yeah.
tells a story. I was on the phone earlier today with a guy who runs a pressure washing company, and he posts videos of himself pressure washing
That's very satisfying.
on TikTok. The guy
Yeah.
has 1.2 million followers.
I would follow that.
I
Damn,
I
dude.
did.
Pressure
I
washing is
watched a
very,
lot of
yeah.
it. I mean, it's so gross, and then
Yo,
it's just clean.
we're
So
actually looking at, this is funny random story. Sorry. We're
yeah.
going to do pressure washing next summer of our logo around town cause it's like guerrilla marketing. You can pressure
Oh.
wash a sidewalk with your logo.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So
Yeah.
something we're thinking about. I
Yeah.
apologize.
Oh,
That
that's
was
cool.
off the
No,
shoot.
that's a clever idea. So, so there, like the things that we're doing, what you have to realize with home services is that when your home is built and designed, uh, tailored to who you are as an individual, that is like reaching the highest tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's self
Mhm.
actualization. That's what you're selling. You're not just selling, oh, I'm repairing this so that it's functional. I'm repairing this so that they can survive. You're actually building something that is a representation of who people are on the inside and who they want to be. And so when you post that stuff online, when you post pictures of your work, when you post the story of how the customer hated their house, they just moved to town, and this was the only house that they could find, and they had to do a massive renovation in order to get it just right, and this was the problem, and this is the HGTV formula, right? They found a contractor to come in to do what they want. They had all these options. This is the option that they chose. They hit a snag. This is how the problem was resolved, and this is how it ends in success. You can tell that story visually through the pictures that you post online, and all you have to do is just be consistent in that. That's amazing branding. And when people follow you and they love watching the story and they want to be that person, they're going to know who to go to. And you just have to make sure that your website makes it easy to get an estimate,
Hmm.
book the job, book the quote, call them up, find a time,
Yeah.
boom, it's off my list. I don't have to think about it anymore. I called the painter, I called the plumber, it's done. They're going to be here on Friday,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. I love that. And I think it's a perfect transition into what it is that Periodic is able to handle. So there's options for these types of booking software. We've got Calendly is an option. I see a lot of people using. Periodic does some things better than Calendly in this way. So if you're looking for a little bit more advanced booking for sales teams, and then
Yep.
what other things does Periodic do a little bit differently that might be useful to people?
Yeah, sure. So, I don't want to dog on any of our competitors or anything
Yeah.
like that. I think Calendly is fine for, if it's just you, if you're the
Yep.
only person who has a calendar. It gets a little tricky when you have a bigger service area.
Yeah.
Like you need to go across town and maybe somebody booked on the north side and then somebody booked on the south side. That's when our customers come to us and they're like, I tried Calendly, I tried this, and they're fine for this, but I couldn't quite figure out this component of it. And so we work with our companies. They usually have bigger sales teams. They usually have bigger service areas or multiple service areas, and they usually need a little bit more customization. And the way that we can customize our software, it's not just the booking, but it includes forms, and it includes email and text message notifications. And we can customize this thing to go from just a basic, pre-qualification contact form all the way to building you a customized estimate tool, where we work directly with your company to understand what your services are, how long these things take, what the production rates are, and we'll do the program in the code to make that software tailored to how you want to estimate. There are a lot of estimating tools out there. A lot of them are really great, but most of them require you to kind of conform to the way that the tool works. We think about it in the opposite direction. We want our tool to conform to the way that you work, because that's what works for you.
Awesome. I love it. And so, yeah, just all of that stuff with the text, that's amazing. Automated email sequences as well for pre-positioning and follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to just make sure that everyone knows exactly how to get to you if they want to chat with you. So what are the best ways to contact you or check out the company?
Yeah, definitely. So I always put out my own personal booking link to folks. It's torlando.periodic.site. You can go there and book 20 minutes with me. I that call, it's not a hard pitch. I'm not really trying to pitch at that point. I'm mostly just trying to figure out what problem you're trying to solve. And if I can help you with that, great. If I can't, I usually can point you in the right direction. And so torlando.periodic.site is my personal booking link. Feel free to go on there and connect with me. And if you want to know more about Periodic, go to periodic.is.
Well, this has been an amazing, amazing podcast. I think the self-actualization thing blew my mind a little bit. I can tell you're a story brand certified guide with that one.
Yeah, it's something that I really cared about, as a contractor. It's something that I really understood about my customers, that, I think there's such a tendency for us to say that the problem that we solve, we use our solution to say that that's the problem. Like, it's so easy to say, well, what's the problem? Well, people need their house painted. That's not really it. What they have, the problem that they have is that they have unrest in their lives because their house doesn't match or fit who they are. And our solution is to make it look beautiful, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm touched. Torlando. So yeah, so I'm excited to potentially chat again in the future, and I really appreciate you spending time with us today.
I appreciate it too.
Yeah, so it's the Hook Better Leads podcast, hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social, and join us next time for the next episode, and have a good one.